are convening this meeting and why is it important that we are having this meeting. And then we shall have, after Ms. Agnes Chirabo, we shall then have, I will introduce the speakers. And among the speakers, we have tried to have a number of them who are in the enterprises that have been prioritized under the National Development Plan 3. And we'll be having Ms. Lovin Kobsinje to give us the perspective of fisheries processing. We shall be having Ms. Dorothy Chimuri, who is in the Chile and value addition in Chile, but also in the vegetable subsector. Then we shall have fruits and vegetable subsector. Then we shall have Ms. Regina Nakayenga, who is also one of the wonderful agropreneurs in agro-processing, in beverages, but also in value addition on a number of products like coffee, Pirivuma, and all that. And then we shall have Ms. Margaret Laroyo to also share her views on from the perspective of oil and butter processing, agro-processing. Then we shall have plenary from each presentation, and afterwards we shall have the Ministry of Gender representative, Mr. Mbazira, to take us through the way in the way forward. From the presentation of from the opening remarks of Ms. Agnes Chirabo, I will also request her to invite for us a representative from National Planning Authority to be able to take us through through understanding the United Nations Agri-Entrepreneur Summit on food systems, what it is about and what and why this and what is expected of us as agripreneurs, and why we need to share our views to ensure that Uganda's position in the upcoming conference is addressed. Thank you so much, and I wish now on this juncture to call the ED of Food Rights Alliance, who are the co-conveners of this session, and to come and give us opening remarks, and then invite for us National Planning Authority to be able to take us. Ms. Agnes Chirabo, please, you are most welcome, and you have the floor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Africa, and good morning, Uganda, and good morning, everyone. I thank God that at least we are still alive and we can come here on this call and hold these deliberations. We condole with everybody that has lost loved ones, but we also feel for everybody that has gone through this wave, either infected, because in one way or the other, we are all affected. It's a hard time, but we bless God that at least we can still stand and testify that is a good God. Thank you so much for inviting me to make these remarks. And I also add my voice to you to thank the partners together with whom we have convened this space to have this conversation. I thank you, Siatini, because you've thanked us. You've thanked FRA. I also wish to thank Siatini that have spearheaded this convening of the women. I also wish to thank the SME Alliance and the SME Forum that also came and joined us in convening, but above all, the government of Uganda, and represented by the National Secretariat for the Food Systems Summit Dialogues in Uganda, and also the National Planning Authority that also offered to be in this space to represent the National Secretariat, and of course have given us a lot of support in convening this space. My name is Agnes Kirabo. I earn a salary from Food Rights Alliance as an executive director there. But in this particular process, I also serve the National Secretariat as a co-convener for track 1. So I thought I would also clarify that. And I think I'm the civil society. There are also other NGOs, international NGOs that are also co-chairing the tracks. We have 5 tracks. Dr. Sarah will talk about them. And FRA, we are also there, but we are an alliance, and I think we are the organization that is non-state on the National Secretariat, that is civil society in nature, because the rest of our colleagues are so much in humanitarian. So it came to the fact that there is need to get the voices of as many people as possible. Dr. Sarah from the National Planning Authority will also clarify to you that we have a secretariat where our national convener is the Office of the Prime Minister, and the National Planning Authority and the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries are co-conveners at that level. The rest of us come in as either chairs or co-chairs. That is how FRA ended there. So we had an elaborate program, but unfortunately, COVID, this second wave, interrupted everything. And our broad program was intercepted in a way. We had to, of course, all of us have, like I've said, we have been affected and infected. So there was slowed down at that level. And then eventually we had to reorganize ourselves and look out a different way of how we can engage. The Food Systems Summit Dialogues, again, Dr. Sarah will give you the background as to how the UN General Secretary invited every member of the UN and governments to come together and rally ourselves in a pause and reflection moment. A pause and reflection moment because we're all far from meeting the Sustainable Development Goals and the targets therein. We had set ourselves to have hunger. Instead, hunger is increasing. We had thought we shall reduce malnutrition in all its forms. Instead, it is increasing. We thought that poverty will be reduced. Instead, it is increasing. And climate change has not been in our favor. And while we are still grappling with the likes of climate change, us here in Uganda, we even had manifestations of what were they called? Oh, I'll come back to that. And then here came COVID-19. So, you know, all these things have come in, and there was an observation that actually the bulk of the world is agrarian. especially in Africa, in the South, we are agrarian. And the food system is playing a very central role, not only to feed people, but to run industries, to create jobs, you know, all those things. And the food system was not performing to its best. On the contrary, we had invested as the world, and I believe also in Uganda, we have engaged in so many things, doing so many things. I have had the privilege of looking at the sector investment plans for Uganda, from the development sector investment plan to the agriculture sector investment plan 1. Now we have developed the agriculture sector strategic plan 2. We have developed the National Development Plan 1, National Development Plan 2. Now we're in National Development Plan 3. When you look at the sector of agriculture, for instance, the first priority is increasing production and productivity. Production and productivity. But we are told we have not made a lot of progress. Coming back home, the numbers of people that are getting hungry are also increasing. With COVID-19 globally, we are expecting 46 million more people getting trapped into hunger. And we believe also in Uganda, it is the same story. There is a link between the rural and the urban. Whereas the farmers in the lockdown, we assume they are producing, that one is not going to transform when the markets are not working. So things are not working. And we have to stop and think according to the general call from the UN. How do we transform our food systems on the principles of sustainability, on the principles of inclusivity, on the principles of equity? So a transformation that is not destructive, a transformation that is going to be able to feed us today and will feed the generations that are going to come behind us. So this is where we have come from. And the government of Uganda positively responded to this call. Dr. Sarah will brief you how and how far we have moved. So after the interruptions of COVID, the second wave of COVID-19 here in the comprehensive plan of engagement that the National Secretariat had developed and had been adopted by the ministers, we realized that we cannot reach everywhere in the country. We have had regional dialogues, but still we had a feeling there are those unique voices that are not able coming through. And one of those unique voices is the voice of women. But we are like, how can we, even the women are not homogeneous. When we held a conversation for farmers, we had women speak in there and give their views. Yesterday, we had a conversation for the youths. We had some youth women, again, somehow. But we're like, as a country, our development direction is on agro-industrialization. I think it is important for us as a country to tap into that voice of women that are agro-entrepreneurs across the entire value chain. We need to have that voice, and that voice should be well crafted such that it can give us game changers. The last thing that I can talk about, why women agro SMEs. By the way, the bulk of our agro-industrialization in Uganda is dominated by MSMEs. And the bulk of the MSMEs in agro-entrepreneurship are women. Has their voice come to table? Today is the opportunity. this space is the great space for government, for the UN food systems to get that unique voice. I have been in several spaces for different countries, for different regions in this conversation. I want to assure you, I have not attended one that is specifically harvesting the voice of women agro-entrepreneurs and specifically MSMEs. So please bail the world out, bail these food systems conversations out by one, not lamenting, because by and large, we are aware of our challenges. But how are we going to bail out the world in these conversations? By proposing those action-oriented, game-changing solutions. Solutions that are going to harness your enterprises, your capabilities, and grow the sector, create jobs, create markets, sustain the environment, feed nature, feed the population on sustainable and health diets. So the ball is in your court, and we are interested in harvesting those unique prepositions, and we are confident, given the gathering that I'm seeing here, that this is going to be possible. So on behalf of Siatini, on behalf of FRA, the SME Alliance, the SME Forum, I take this opportunity to welcome you this morning and to thank you so much for heeding to our call to come to our space. I also want to appreciate in a special way the financial contribution from the Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung Foundation. Stiftung is a foundation that have enabled us to gather here, and they are very much interested in the voice of women. So thank you so much, Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung. And finally, thank you so much, the government of Uganda, for opening doors. I think we have been engaging the media, and the key question is, do you think government is willing to listen? And I have assured those that I've talked to that yes, government of Uganda is willing to listen and has demonstrated that will. So thank you so much, government of Uganda, for living by practice and action and opening up the window to this kind of conversations and the willingness to harvest from this kind of conversations. You will receive more assurance from Dr. Sarah when she comes to speak after me. So thank you so much. Chair, you gave me another very huge duty, and the duty is to invite my bosses at the National Secretariat. I wish to invite you, Dr. Sarah Naharamba from the National Planning Authority, to come and address this meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Agnes, and good morning to everyone. I hope that we are all in good health and continuing to keep safe. Thank you, Agnes, for those wonderful remarks. You've given an entire spectrum of what is happening around the food systems preparations. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you for mobilizing, the special interest groups so that we also have their voice getting through into this space. So that is really a plus for you, and we are really grateful that you were able to step in quickly and mobilize these groups, also come on board and effectively participate in the process. My name again, Dr. Sarah Nahalamba. I work with the National Planning Authority, and I'm the manager in charge of population and social sector planning. So we are talking about food, and we are talking about nutrition, and all this falls well within that scope of the social sector and beyond. So today we are here with the women agri-entrepreneurs, a very interesting group of women who we know are playing a very important role in the development of this country, and more specifically in terms of contributing to the food systems. We have gathered here together as partners in development. I know we all are here for a development cause, and so we will be able to reflect on what our food system is like in Uganda, and how we can learn from other countries. So reflecting what is happening within Uganda, within the region, but also at the international level. So as we are making our contribution, let's be mindful to also bring in those perspectives beyond Uganda. I would like to say that as a country, we have taken a multi-sectoral approach and a multi-stakeholder approach towards the preparations for the summit. And I think you can vividly see this. We are all coming together as state and non-state actors to deliberate and come up with the best options, the best policy options, and the best kind of interventions that will be taken forward as a country, but also as a contribution to the African region. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to briefly highlight what the summit is about, and then I'll later take you into the milestones that we have achieved as Uganda towards this process. So what is the UN Food Systems Summit about? I know many of us here are already aware now that the UN Secretary General, Antonio, has called on all member states, to be part of this, initiative, where we will be, celebrating a decade, or part of actions to mark a decade towards achievement of sustainable development goals. So we will be deliberating within the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals, but specifically looking at how countries are improving or working towards the improvement of their food systems. This summit is intended to awaken us, awaken the world. It's intended to awaken the world to the fact that we must all work together to transform the way the world produces, consumes, and thinks about food. We must change our mindsets about how we are producing food, how we are consuming it, and how we are thinking about food. And the women entrepreneurs have a very big space in this. And so we will be listening to you about your perspectives around this. So the summit is also going to offer a catalytic moment, for global public mobilization and action and actionable commitments. We are already doing that at a country level, catalyzing, different stakeholders, to commit, to certain interventions, to commit certain actions that are going to lead us towards a more inclusive, a climate smart, and resilient, food system. So the summit has 5 tracks, which we're working with. Action track number 1 is about ensuring access to safe and nutritious food for all. So this is about ensuring that we have, adequate production of foods, and also ensuring that the food is being, sustainably and adequately consumed. Action track number 2 is about a shift to sustainable consumption patterns. And of course, we are also working to see how best Uganda consumption patterns. We have action track number 3, which is about boosting nature positive production. Action track number 4 is about advancing equitable livelihood, and action track number 5 is about stress tracks, and this is what is guiding us, the papers, our participation at regional as well as international level. So I would now wish to go to highlight we have achieved so far as a country. Sorry, I had fallen off. I think I'm back now. So I was saying that in Uganda, we started this process in April, is when we had an inception meeting that was chaired by the Right Honorable. And that inception meeting was attended by a number of ministers and executives of UN and other stakeholders. So that was the onset of the meeting, and since then we have not looked back. We have moved forward in terms of the preparations. So I also like to inform the participants here that we agreed that the Right Honorable Prime Minister would be the national convener of the summit at country level, and the Minister of Agriculture, as well as the chairperson of the National Planning Authority, we appointed co-conveners. So we are moving in that spirit. We also established a multi-sectoral secretariat, which runs the day-to-day business of the preparations for the summit. And this secretariat is still chaired by the Office of the Prime Minister. So the commissioner in charge of strategic policy and coordination is chairing this secretariat, which has really done a tremendous job in terms of putting together all that is required to work towards the summit. We held regional dialogues. We had 5 days for each track. So we had each track having a day for a regional dialogue, and we had a multitude of stakeholders from the local governments, effectively participating in these regional dialogues, and we came up with a very good an analytical paper together, and this will feed into the common or the position paper. I would also like to say that
has disabled it.
we are planning now to have a national dialogue this month. And of course, again, we are going to be able to solicit stakeholder participation, but more at a policy level, so that we are able to synthesize the issues that are coming from the regional dialogues, as well as the special interest dialogues like this one. I would like to also inform you that Uganda will be participating today. Our Minister of Agriculture is representing us in the AU meeting on the same, and we have been working together with the ministry to present the issues that we would like to to present at that level. So that is also happening, and it's important that you're also aware of those kind of events that are happening. We have also planned to participate in what is called the pre-summit. The pre-summit is going to happen in Rome between the 20th and 30th of July. So we are preparing as well to be part of the pre-summit, and this will give us opportunity to present our key emerging issues or proposals at that level before we can finally present in September. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that this is a very important dialogue. We know the role of women in this country. Women play a very significant role, and we also know that women are the majority of the population, but we also know the important role that women have, especially when it comes to food at household level and beyond. So we are expecting to get very, very critical issues coming through, and we'll be able to synthesize these issues and integrate them in the country's common position paper that will be presented to Cabinet first before we can finally present it in New York. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for listening to me. I don't want to take much of our time because we really want to listen to the women agri-entrepreneurs and take their views forward. So thank you very much, and be blessed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sarah, for that insightful update and guidance. This really ushers us into, it gives us a starting point on what our MSMEs should look out for in the coming summit, but also especially, like you're saying, their concerns, their voices on how do we address the food systems to ensure that trade facilitates access to sustainable and equitable food systems. Facilitate this session, the discussion is a number of formidable and interesting agripreneurs who are women, who have done it, or seen it, who are engaged in the actual production, but also in the actual trade in these agricultural products. And the questions that they will be examining in terms of capturing their voices will rotate around then what they require to see stopped in Uganda. There are a number of issues, some of them are policy related, some of them are practice related, but they are affecting women's effective engagement in agri-entrepreneurship. And these issues need to be addressed. So the first aspect is what a healthier, more sustainable and equitable food system. They are also going to discuss the issue of the missing link in the food summit conversations in Uganda. What is the missing link as we are preparing for this food summit from the perspective of agripreneurs, the women? What are these important issues that are missing that we need to connect with the summit? You remember the summit that is going to happen aims at ensuring that the world is transformed in a way through which food is produced, consumed, and traded. And then they will also look at perspectives on what they wish to see government and others committing to do differently. What do they wish to see the government of Uganda committing to do differently when it comes to trade and food systems for women entrepreneurs? So to take us through this will be a number of women in agribusiness, but I will now start with Ms. Lovin Kobsinje, who is engaging in fisheries processing and exporting from Uganda. Ms. Kobsinje, you have the floor to give us your views, to share your perspectives on how do you think we can organize food systems from the fisheries perspectives, ensure that it results into more sustainable and equitable and healthier food chain. You have the floor, Ms. Lovins, and you have between 5 to 9 minutes. Ms. Kobsinje.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Moderator. Good morning to everybody. Thank you so much, partners, especially Food Rights Alliance, for inviting us, the Women in Fisheries, to be able to present about our work in regards to food system. My name is Lovin Kobsinje, as I have already been introduced. I own a fish processing company in Uganda, in Wakiso district. I'm also the chair for the Women in Fisheries in Uganda. We have an organization and it's called Uganda National Women Fish Organization. I will request the technical team to please share my presentation so that I am able to start. If it's ready, I don't know. If not, I can go ahead. Thank you.
Please go ahead. It's being shared.
Yeah, thank you. So Uganda National Women Fish Organization, we are a non-profit organization. We have a membership of about 2 million women, fish processors, traders, processors, marketeers, and mainly we do farming, we do trading across the borders and within the country. And we realize that fisheries is very important in the sector in Uganda and Africa at large because it creates employment. We all know much about how women are passionate about nutrition and food in families. And also we realize that it is not being given full potential. It is not really much money is not being put into the fisheries sector. The more we go, the more we become poorer. About 40% of women of our members are in post-harvest losses, and we employ about 50% of the sector 70% are women, and they are involved in trade, post-harvest, and all that. So we realize that women really play a significant role and have major stake for sustainability of the food sector and especially the fisheries sector. Next, please. Continue. Yeah, so why did we become an organization? We realized that for women to be able to equitably contribute to the fisheries sector, we needed efforts of everybody. And these efforts, when I talk about this, I mean like every woman's contribution is very important. And we needed to be together for us to be able to really see ourselves contributing in terms of jobs, in terms of food security, as I have already highlighted. And here, we realize that in respect to human rights, the women's human rights and children's rights were being abused because we were working in very deplorable situation. The landing sites have no baby, holding facilities. There is no washrooms. There are no toilets. So all this is part of why the women really realize that we need to be together to raise our issues and we can get help. The policy people have really been supportive, and they really supported us, especially the Directorate of Fisheries Resources, to make sure that we have this organization on the feet. And also for food and livelihood security, this was also an area where women felt for us to be able to play our role here, we need to be together. And lastly, for sustainable natural resource management and utilization of agriculture transformation and sustainable development, we realized that this is also the reason why women really need to unite and become a national organization. Specifically, women realized that there are certain key issues that we all face, whether you are from Kaberamaido, whether you are from Sudan. The women take part in fisheries, processing, selling, retailing, but they lack the capacity. So we needed to professionalize this business of fisheries within these roles so that they can face competition. We really have a lot of competition from for example, the Indians, who have a lot of capital, but we really need to also up the game. And when I say up the game, I mean by having the right packaging, by having the right processing equipment, by having enough capital to be able to produce in terms of scale. And also, the women are entrepreneurs. We could all agree with this statement that women are entrepreneurs, but they do not have access to good marketplaces. Their bargaining power is low. There is no certification because they really lack the expertise to go through the certification procedures. They produce without standards. They don't know much about branding, packaging, patenting their products. So all this brings their bargaining power to become very low, and they get substandard prices or low prices. And we feel like we really need to compete both locally, regional, and at international markets, because wherever we go, we get low, we bargain low, because people will look at your product and it's not even having a company name, you don't have a bank account. So your investment and capital is really very low, and that is how they will pay you. Also, fisheries is in most remote areas provides food and livelihood security, like livestock. CODEF should also, excuse me. Hello. Hello.
Go ahead, please. Please, for those who are not, please go ahead.
I was
for those
hearing
who are not
background
speaking,
noise.
please mute.
Okay, so there is need for strong advocacy to conserve our culture, traditional products, and accruing benefits that come with this. Then also on issue of governance, to ensure gender balance as women, we are weakly involved in fishery policies. When it comes to gender balance, most times women were not consulted on what is, if the fisheries bill is coming, is the women voice part? So there was lack of a capacity to occupy some positions. For example, they want to have maybe a woman director of fisheries. For now, we are really happy. Actually, the whole of fisheries sector is being occupied by women. The director is a woman, and this is really part of the
Miss Lydia, could you please mute yourself? Lydia, could you please mute yourself? Go ahead, Kobusingye. Ms. Kobusingye, are you with us?
Yes, unmuted. She's unmuted. You can see, so we can't hear her. She's talking, but we can't hear her.
Yeah, it might be connection challenges.
Oh, she has unmuted herself. Yeah, fine. Now she's.
Okay. I think you had muted me. So I was saying, how do we know how we can improve without data? Women realize that gender disaggregated data, lack of national statistics on maritime resources was a very big hindrance to our progress. And we request that the national statistics should indicate at the end of the year whether the production or the contribution from the fisheries sector, if it is maybe 50%, let us be clearly identified, like this contribution was from women and this was from men, not just combined together. Because with this, we end up finding that women are not really being recognized as any players in the fisheries market or any fisheries resources. So lastly, access to credit and legalization of businesses. Women cannot access bigger loans. They need security, e.g. collateral. And in most cases, these are in men's names, like you're married and you don't care much, you don't have enough knowledge to be able to know that if I'm married to someone, if we are to buy a house, it should be in both our names. So we find this very challenging, and we really would wish to see it become better for us to contribute to the food systems in a better way. Specifically, there are 3 issues that we really feel: access to credit, whom to ask, where to ask, loans towards good seasons to enable women avoid debt. So we need more investment in women, and we really need cash in women's hands. We no longer want lip service. We want to see cash in women's hands. And this applies to all sectors, from banks to the ministries, when they are giving donations or they are giving women funds, let it really be increased. There is also, do we really know who to deal with in the fisheries sector? How do we ensure that they are reached? How do we know that the women are reached? How many agencies say they are supporting women, but the help does not actually get to those women? They only think of us when there are shows and they are called to come to showcase our products. But when there are things to benefit, they never call us. And lastly, information access. We really want to also get information translated down to the grassroots and to local languages, because not all people in business can speak English. And lastly, they need a concerted voice to articulate, advocate for actions on our issues. When we are talking, most people will think we are complaining. How best do we communicate and people understand us without thinking we are complaining? Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you good deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kobusinje Lovin. That was informative. And you raised a number of issues which actually are critical and need to be addressed, especially when we are looking at COVID-19 and resuscitation of businesses for economic recovery of the country, but also the same businesses. The aspect of certification for standards is very important and critical. Even though UNB, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, as I think as of this week, has even now further reduced the cost of certification. But like you're saying, again, there are still these challenges that women agripreneurs face, which even though we have seen a reduction further in the cost of certification, will still make it challenging for them to be able to attain these certification marks. The issue of information is critical, and the aspect of access to credit is important, especially when we look at the challenges that have been associated with the stimulus package disbursement to the intended beneficiaries. So thank you so much, Lovin, and you will forgive me, participants. Let us hear from all the speakers and then we shall open it up. I wish now to, at this juncture, to call Ms. Dorothy Chimuri, also share with us her views. Dorothy, even if you don't have slides, please just go ahead and share with us. Dorothy, you're welcome. And over to you.
Thank you very much. And once again, my name is Dorothy Wegoye Chimuli. I'm the Managing Director of D&M Group International Limited. We have been in existence for the last 9 years. We are an agro-processing company, and we process Kim's natural chili products, that is Kim's natural chili and Kim's tomato ketchup, and also a maize snack. And before I start, I want to appreciate Siatini for the several opportunities they have given us to have a unified voice, to be able to address issues concerning the SME and agribusiness industry in Uganda. And just to be clear is that we are not lamenting, we are not complaining, but each time we address our voices, it means that there's something that's not being attended to and needs to be addressed. And on this point, I want to highlight what I think needs to stop being done that Uganda has continuously been doing, despite the opportunities that we have been given to air our voices. And what I want to start with is that what we are discussing today are issues that have been discussed over years. There is nothing new that we are bringing on the table in terms of the voices of change that need to be implemented, apart from putting to action what we have been tabling. And one of the things that I think needs to be stopped is that we need to stop talking as a government and the responsible parties. We need to stop promises that do not change. You know, we don't fulfill promises, and we need to get down to work. And we need to get down to fulfill these promises and to commit to implement the discussions. Because as SMEs, we have tabled numerous issues, and no matter at what level we go to, whether at regional level or at international level, what is important is that on ground, what is being actualized from these discussions. So what we need to do as all parties concerned is that we need to stop raising issues continuously and get down to implementing the issues that SMEs as a voice have been raising. Because if we go down to the Sustainable Development Goals, from which we also are able to have the Uganda Vision 2040. That means that most of the implementation strategies are being documented. But the issue is, what is the report? To what extent have these strategies been implemented? To what extent have results been declared of these implementations? So what I think is lacking and should stop is reports that are not actualized. You know, if we are reporting, let's report concreteness. Let's report things that are actually on ground and say, you know, by 50%, this is what has been implemented when we deal with what is on ground. But you find that most times we base our discussions on literature, on what other people have written, whether it's 5 or 7 years ago, instead of knowing exactly in what position we stand at this point in time. I'll give a very clear example. The issue of Uganda being an agro-economy, being predominantly agriculture, has always been mentioned at 70%. And I have had this percentage for the last 6, 7, 8 years. On ground, what is the actual percentage? Until we get to know exactly what is on ground at any one point in time, it is going to be very, very challenging to address some of the issues that we put on table. Then as an SME, I think if we talk about healthy living, there's a category of agribusiness that oftentimes has not been brought on table, or it has been brought on table with limited attention, and that is people who deal with the processing of organic products. So the issue of organic products needs to be addressed. It needs to be given that same strength, especially if we are talking about nutrition and healthy living. So we need not to shelf it, but bring it to light. Secondly, what do we need to do? We need to stop sitting on opportunities that will grow these agri-businesses. There are so many opportunities out there that can lift up the woman entrepreneur. But you find that most opportunities are being sat on. They are not brought to light fully to address the challenges of women entrepreneurs. But putting that aside as well, these opportunities are being channeled through offices that do not have a proper understanding of the nature of business that the woman entrepreneur is in. I'll give an example. They've talked about the issues of loans, but what percentage of the businesswoman in agriculture can access those loans? The conditions attached to those loans alone are preventing the woman from moving ahead. So the conclusion is that the people that are holding these responsibilities, the people that are supposed to advance the businesses of the woman in agribusiness, have still failed to have the understanding of the environment in which the agribusiness woman operates. I went to a bank recently. That was shortly before actually COVID. I wanted a loan. They said it was for agriculture. When I went there, I was told that for me to access that loan, I needed to have a minimum of 100 million shillings on my account. Honestly speaking, if we are talking about the agribusiness woman, how many women, how many enterprises can have that kind of cash on their account before they can access this assistance? I even reached an extent of saying, you know what, I have a facility. Can we please have a look at that facility? And you see the worthiness of that facility. And you see the promise that this business has to grow. And they said all that is inconsequential. So it is very important that as a government, we either train, if we are putting in people without the knowledge, to make sure that the issues of the businesswoman in agriculture are being addressed with the understanding of the environment, the challenges that they go through. My colleague has talked about wanting security to get loans. The issue is how many women in business have that kind of security? Again, I went to a bank, I wanted a loan, and they told me, you must have land. I didn't have land at that point. When you tell them, but I don't have the land, they're like, that is the only security that on that time I moved to 3 banks. I moved to EcoBank, I moved to Centenary, you get it? I moved to DFCU, and I think it's just a policy that people must have land. But the issue is, how are we supporting, how are we appreciating this environment to support the country to move ahead in agro-industrialization? Then another thing I need to talk about is when we talk about healthy living and agro-businesses, and this is something that needs to stop, like I had said, is that we need to stop listening and get down to action. We have talked about packaging for a very, very long time, and people have still failed to appreciate why packaging is so critical. And many agribusinesses have been criticized for poor standards. But to be able to improve on these standards, we must work as one. We must put our hands together and have an understanding of why are we failing to get to that level. Because most of our productions are to standard. What is failing us is that issue called packaging. We've talked about it for a very long time, and you ask yourself, countries like Rwanda and other developed worlds do not want us to take our products there in plastics, yet they are bringing their products in Uganda in plastics. How do we explain this kind of business and supportive arrangement that we can't take out plastics, yet people are flooding our market with plastics? And when we address this, it is still landing on deaf ears. You'll have to forgive me, I'm not lamenting, but we need to put these things to those responsible to make sure that whatever is being documented must have these interests. Then we talk about healthy living. I once did a demonstration. You get this plastic, we are supposed to hot fill products. The moment you hot fill a product, it means that the packaging material is going to shrink. But the issue is for those materials that do not shrink, what is the chemical reaction from that plastic onto this product that is going to be consumed by a national or global citizen? How healthy are their lives if we continue failing to address issues of packaging? Then I need to talk about the issue of exports. I know export is so critical. I know export is bringing in incomes into the country, but let's also encourage home consumption. And the issue is, have we tested these products on the home market before these products are exported? Secondly, we emphasize exports, but are you aware that for you to export a product, it must at least have a shelf span of at least 2 years? And you cannot have that shelf span when you're in plastics. And this information is got from Food Science and Technology Makerere University, that if Uganda must export and meaningfully enjoy the export market, we must first address the issues of agro-processing in the area of marketing. It does not help to get a product from Uganda and say take it to Rwanda, and by the time it gets on the shelf, it's remaining with 6 months expiry. And yet you can put it in a glass, which will last 1.5 to 2 years, and you know that the product is safe on that market. So basically, based on what I have said, I think we need to realize what we need to stop doing. We need to stop talking and talking and talking and get down to realizing the actual implementation of the challenges that we are addressing. The next issue was, what is missing? What is missing in the Food System Summit conversations? And this is what I have talked about earlier. Analytical reporting is missing. Most of the people that report about issues do not go down to the ground to establish exactly what is it that we are reporting. Most people rely on literature to be able to report. For instance, 70% of Uganda being an agroeconomy has been documented. It has been fronted for over a decade. Is it the same percentage today? And if it is still the same percentage, to what extent is it at farm level, at agro-processing level, and at agribusiness level to bring the total to 70%? Do we have these details? Then also another thing is that on an institutional level, and in light of the nation being dominantly an agroeconomy, whose backbone is agriculture, the practical follow-up and engagement is lacking. And why am I saying this? If we want to advance this country to the level of industrialization, that means we must have hands-on. We must know exactly what is on ground. But you find that there can be, unless you're a grown industry and you're well known, that's when people will pick interest. But how many little businesses are down there that have the potential to come up, but are ignored because they have not reached to that level that they feel they must arouse that attention? Where are we getting the information that we are declaring? Are we including that ground level? Are the people that we entrust to grow this industry going down to that critical level that must arouse the level of development that Uganda is looking for? I don't think so. Then what is missing? What is missing is that reinforced coordination between institutions. Institutions definitely are working together. But what is missing in Uganda is the extent to which institutions are working together, the extent to which these institutions are coordinating to address the issues that are being tabled. And one of the things I would like to talk to give an example, Uganda Registration Services is doing a good job, but it's doing a good job, but the level of coordination is what I need to address, because when we are talking about the agribusiness woman and the businesses that they put onto the market, we are talking also about protecting these businesses not to be invaded by those that seek to bring down businesses in terms of intellectual property. But you find that most of these discussions, the other side is working in isolation, while this side is working in isolation. That's why you find that the woman in business has failed to bring together that whole package to address the challenges in their business. So I think that link is missing. The strength, the link may be there, but the strength of the business is what is missing, that needs to be reinforced. Then in summary, women in agribusiness, what women in agribusiness like to see others commit doing differently. What do we want to see those responsible commit to do? We want to see systematic and accountable approach to uplifting women agribusinesses. As has been said, the women businesses are so many in Uganda, but you cannot lift them up all at once. You must have a strategic plan on how this is going to be addressed. To give an example, you can say maybe 2020, what do we want to do? To what extent do we want to lift these businesses? Then next year gets to another category, such that something is systematic, something is being reported in an accountable manner with visible progress. But the moment it is all taken in as floodgates, it becomes difficult to have that concreteness and that systematic, accountable reporting. What we want to see is to reinforce the coordination, to reinforce the strength between the complementary institutions. Then also the institutions need to be advanced by people who appreciate this industry, because until people appreciate the kind of environment that this businesswoman works in, it is going to be very difficult to address these issues. People must get down to ground to address these issues and not just stop at the tables of offices. Then what women in agribusiness are ready to commit to do, whatever we are addressing, a woman in agribusiness is committed to do. That is the reason why we constantly come back to address these issues. The woman in agribusiness is committed to adopt better production techniques from farm level to the market. The woman in agribusiness is committed to supply and ensure reliability of provision. We are committed to address the issues of food security. and we are committed to address the issues of intellectual property, because without these issues, we cannot go beyond even the towns in which we operate. But for these issues to be addressed, it is a collection of all efforts. We must work together as one to advance these interests. Thank you very much. That is my submission.
Thank you so much, Dorothy, for those insightful for the insightful submission. As we are coming to the rest, there are a number of comments and questions coming in from the audience. Richard is asking Lovin Kopsinje Richard Hamba is asking Lovin Kopsinje whether there are any challenges related to transportation of the fish products that you can highlight. Are there some challenges, for example, including mobility movement of women and children in the fishing sector? Please be thinking around that on that question as up to when we open up the discussion. Mutasa Humphrey is congratulating Dorothy and indicating that yes, AgriPoint is has built the first integrated agricultural data management system, which shall answer the aspect of data. And Richard Hamba is appreciating Dorothy, but then is indicating that yes, the issue of real deal information is critical and needs to be looked into support guide research and practice in programming. Also, Stella Akutui from NADNet, she is indicating that there is lack of consistency in implementation of some of these of the regulation, and this frustrates innovation and value addition to the agricultural product, and that this should be looked into. Catherine Mbabari is also indicating that reinforcing, re-echoing the challenge raised by Dorothy about the challenge of majority of market women lacking collateral security to borrow from big banks. And thus they end up from money lenders, private money lenders, who end up charging high interest rates. The same is shared by Francis Birungi in that same spirit. So the issue of high interest rates and access to finance is critical indeed. I wish to call upon our next agripreneur, who is the second last, Ms. Regina Nakayenga, to also share with us her views. Ms. Regina, you have between 5 to 80 minutes, please. Over to you, Ms. Regina Nakayenga. Ms. Regina Nakayenga. Okay, as it appears she has dropped out, as we are trying to get her back, can I call upon Miss Madam Ekilapa Vanji, who is the head of agribusiness in Tororo and engaged in oil and butter processing, to share with us? Madam Eklapa, please.
Yes. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon to you, sir. You are talking to Madam Megra Avanji.
Please go ahead.
Yes.
Please go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. This is the Madam Van Grappa. Yeah, I'm a farmer from Tororo and sitting on the board of the
Here we appear to be Madam Ekirapa.
I'm happy to be part of this. Okay, I'm talking about women in production. I'm talking about women in production.
Yes.
Yes. I want to thank the people who have prepared this summit, and I'm happy to be part of it. Talking about production in food issues, it is a big issue that you have to be in production up to the consumer. It has so many aspects. You have to look into the preparation of the land. You have to look into the seed you are going to produce. You have to look into the process, the post-harvest handling up to the consumer when the process, when the product, when the what you are going to produce is in the quantity and the quality. So on this note, I want to talk about what women have been going through. First of all, women has been suffering from the production. First of all, they lack land, as they don't have the right to the land. They when they go into production, you go to the seed, you get fake inputs. Fake inputs are common. You have already put in the whole money in production. You have already bought land. In most cases, you don't have, but you have hired. Then when you get fake seed, that one also puts you down. Then you go into, of course, when you are going into business in farming, you need also finance, get access to affordable finance because of lack of so many things. You need a collateral in the bank where they will afford. Maybe a type to afford. They want to ask for maybe your book we don't own. But that's what make us really afraid of what to do. Then you go to like other things like post-harvest handling. You have no knowledge. We have no knowledge. We need business information. Consumer. Someone has already talked about maybe like packaging, but you cannot go into packaging when you have poor produce. So all of that. Then we have also gender issues. Gender issues, women don't own land, and you have first to ask where you are going to put your crop. Sometimes we even fail to plant these long-term crops because we don't own land, so you cannot plant. And yet at the same time, who are supposed to pay school fees for our children, who are supposed to keep our families, who are supposed to take care of our children. So that one also gives us less chance as women. Then we also have conflict in the family and business. You have a family, your family, you have also to do business. The man is here, he wants this, then again children wants this at the same time, you have also to do business. So that one also has also put us back. I may say that our partners sometimes they don't help us. So and yet we are the same people who have been fighting security, food security, we are the same people who have also tried to gain confidence to our partners, because if you don't do well, then he will not even give you a chance to do other businesses. So we don't know now what to do really, because there are so many challenges that women are facing. At the same time, when you go to markets, we lack consistency in production because of those issues I have put down. Because if you have land today and the next day you don't have, then you will not continue producing. We produce just in less quantity. So we have those challenges as women. But all in all, we are struggling and we want to continue. So I don't know how we thank the Uganda government for that. It has really given us that chance to do those things, but I think it is not enough. If they could also put maybe like the pocket for women in the agricultural business, that one could even have helped us, because we don't have any other collateral, but they know that I'm so and so's wife, I work this, I do this, so that when I go there, they look at me and they say, this one is green, then they monitor us. Otherwise, if it is not like that, then we shall not manage. Then also other taxes are also really, they are really a stone in our shoes. You have already worked on this, then again the taxes are increasing, there is revenue, there is the income tax, so there are so many things every day they are introducing different taxes. So please, can they also look into the woman in the farming business and they sympathize and they see how they can work with us? Otherwise, we submit that they have come to look into a real woman in the business down on the ground, because many people have been just talking when they are up, but today they are talking to a real farmer on the ground who is bringing up the issue, who has been facing. Thank you. Hello? Are you sure? Hello? Are you getting me? It's not there. Hello?
Yes, we can get you.
Hello? Are you getting me?
Yes, please. Wind up, please. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Did you hear my submission?
Okay, yes. Thank you so much.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Clapper, yes, Madam Clapper, we had your submission. There were some challenges with connection, but we were able to get a number of your points, and key of those that Ms. Clapper raised are the issues of gender relations and how this household gender relations and how they affect the organization of food systems. And to me, I think this is a good angle that our speaker from the Ministry of Gender will need to look into. We cannot separate gender relations at household level from trade and organization of food systems. And you also reinforce the aspect of collateral. I think, again, this issue of collateral is for access to finance is really a challenge. And you also looked at the aspect of inconsistency in the production and how this affects production and productivity chains. We cannot talk about competitiveness when we have production and productivity which is inconsistent. And like you tied it around, it has everything to do with access to productive resources like land and finance. So Mr. Eklapa Eramanoi, thank you so much. And please stay online for questions that are coming in. As I'm going to the last speaker, there is a question that is also that is being addressed to Lovin Kobsinje from Miss Agnes Chirabo, and she's asking whether Lovin has a sense of whether he has any idea about loss of statistics in the fisheries sector, especially at storage and transportation level. If please, Lovin, be thinking around this issue. Now, allow me comments to call upon our final speaker before opening up to us. Let me call Ms. Regina Nakayenga to also give us her views. Regina, please, you do have also 5 to 7 minutes so that we can open up. Regina Nakayenga, please, come in.
Great, you have promoted me to be a man. Good afternoon. Are you hearing?
Anti oli mumbeja, you are Sebo.
Okay. I'm sorry to be late. I really got so committed. Now, I'm Nakayenga Regina, the proprietor of Rena Beverage Solutions. This is a company which is processing hibiscus flowers into juice, tea, wine, and we also do other products, including palm seed coffee, okra coffee, rosemary tea. This is a very pertinent topic which we are discussing. And from my viewpoint as an agro-processor, I want to bring to your attention, I hope you are hearing me. Are you hearing me?
Yes,
hello.
We you very well.
Great.
Yes,
we are
hearing you, madam.
Thank you. That in the agro-processing industry, it is a very pertinent value chain, which starts from the farmer to the consumer. Every stage is very important, and we need to be as agro-processors. In our case here, we are dealing with the farmer groups. We train them. We train the farmers. Network problem. Hello? Hello? Network is bad. Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes, please.
Network is bad. Okay.
Yeah, please, just go ahead. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, for us, we train farmers to grow hibiscus the way we want so that we get the appropriate quality product of the flowers and the seeds. However, the challenges we are finding that need to be addressed include need for funding to train more people in the hibiscus agronomy. I'm sure even Dorothy, who is doing chili, would wish to have the same, and any other person who is in agro-processing, so that the farmers have the appropriate skills to produce the products, but also to maximize the yields or to get maximum from their yields. Then the other one is on technology. The technology used right from the farmers up to us who are processing is still very rudimentary, and government could come in. In the case of the farmers, we need the harvesters, hibiscus harvesters, and the solar dryers to ensure quality of the flowers which are harvested so that they serve the domestic and export market. Then we would wish Uganda Investment Authority to step in and help us to identify markets. By the way, markets are both here, local or domestic, and export. But as entrepreneurs, SMEs, we are so much submerged into the nitty-gritty of managing the company that we have very little time to go out there and negotiate for big deals. So if we can get some people, some kind of support, technical support, to help us identify where we want our markets, where we want to reach. We know where we want, but because we are doing nearly everything, we have very little time to grow our markets maximally. And then we also need certification. In agribusiness, our farmers need to be certified organically. That is a lot of money. They can't afford that. And it also requires a lot of follow-up supervision. So the Ministry of Agriculture could help us to do that. And any other ministry or government department could help us to pursue, to facilitate funding in pursuing the organic certification. We got a CHUMAC with the support of private sector foundation, the matching grant. So if there are several grants of that nature to help our prominent farmers, our groups to do that, that would be great. Because then our product, the product which you produce can qualify for most of the markets, even the international markets. Then UNBS certification, much as the charges were a bit lowered, they are still much, because for every product you put, it has to be certified. For every label you put on a product, for example, hibiscus tea, if we make now 50 grams, if we make tea bags, if we make whatever, everything has to be certified afresh. They are so numerous and it requires quite a lot of money. I don't know whether they could think of some kind of progressive SMEs and then they are given some premium to enable us to do better. Electricity is still quite costly and the financing is still demanding for us to meet the needs which I have mentioned. But we have some collaborations as Rena Beverages. Uganda Industrial Research Institute is willing to fabricate the harvesting material machines for our farmers, but we lack money, seed money to buy the raw materials to do the fabrication. So we still need to be supported there. So what we can do for us is to ensure that we identify and support our farmers. We continue to do quality production, but we can't produce quite a lot because of that, because we are stuck at the quality of the raw materials and even at the marketing bit and technology. Thank you very much. I submit. Hello.
Thanks, Regina Nakaenga, for the insightful sharing and informative discussion. You raised a number of challenges, a number of issues to consider, which we need to put into consideration. And again, you are re-emphasizing the issue of technology. And I think, if I may quote, for example, Chimera Henry, this is about food grade machinery, technology to support production, technology to support packaging, branding, and processing itself. the issue of certification again is coming up. And as we are speaking, there are a number of questions that were being raised and comments in the chat box. And Peter is reinforcing the fact that gender relations, this is Peter Funa, he said that gender relations are reproduced and produced at household, community, and market level, that even when we go to the market itself, these gender relations still manifest themselves, and they affect women in agri-entrepreneurship. I think this is very, very right. And Arthur Badonia is asking whether we can encourage or facilitate smallholder women to organize themselves in groups, to have a higher leverage or strength for accessing credit facilities and ensuring competitive negotiation. This is very critical, Arthur. And for example, if you note what Uganda National Bureau of Standards and the Ministry of Trade are doing, they are encouraging small women entrepreneurs and other MSMEs to form groups so that they can apply for a Q mark as one group to be able to reduce on the cost of certification. To me, I think of reorganizing women and mobilizing them is very critical. And this is also being emphasized by Ghana Stephen Ichiria from Ministry of Trade, is urging women to stress on quality and quality standards, which is being emphasized in the third National Development Plan. And he's asking them that he's also advising that one way of qualifying for access would involve, for example, formalization and formation of circles to boost access. And a number of incentives like this are offered from the Uganda Revenue Authority. Well, we are going to dig deep into this in this coming segment, which is now to hear from all of us, the speakers ourselves. I mean, all of us, the audience, the participants. Now this is our chance to be able to raise our concerns, or to be able to respond, or to be able to ask questions, or to be able to make comments and maybe proposals. I will start with Justin. Justin, your hand has been up. Justin Mukazungu, please, you have 2 minutes to make a submission, and then I will take on the second, another hand. Justin, please come on board.
Well, actually, my hand has not been up, but seems I think I should talk. I thought I was going to be quiet throughout today. However, I am so excited to be on this platform this afternoon. It is really beautiful, like somebody said, for us women to come together and discuss. Actually realize more that it is us that has the power to change to whatever we may want to change in the agribusiness. Very powerful speakers today. I've been listening and following keenly. And it was like we had shared. So Dorothy, thank you very much for your presentation, and Lovin and everyone else. Though they were so powerful, they actually shortened my contribution because most of it, my colleagues have said it. Being in the same sector, we actually have the same problems. When a woman in entrepreneurship is speaking, you feel like she understands you that no one else does. And you feel like, yes, you're having the same pain. And you feel like somebody else is suffering like you are doing. And you feel like, yes, maybe one day with this joint voice, we can really cry out, and we will be heard one day. Thank you very much, Siatin, for this great opportunity, but my input will really be brief to today's topic. What do we really want to end, or what should not be done? I feel like recently actually noticed that agriculture or women in agribusiness are completely forgotten. Recently, as that pandemic is still prevailing, it really saddens my heart sitting in my sitting room and watching the TV, and people are flaunting other things that to me may not really be important, like a woman in business. Recently, I was seeing the people in music, entertainment, getting a myoga. Then I was asking, really, who is thinking about the woman in business at such a time as this? So I think the government should stop fronting other sectors and think of agribusiness, and more so the woman in business. We all know and cannot pretend about this, but know that it is we, the women, that are at the forefront of agriculture. Matters, we may not have land, but we are the ones. If you go down to the roots, like I've worked with women in agriculture or farmers, they're the ones who do everything. So I think the government should stop fronting other sectors. People in music, so many things as they are being fronted, they're making news headlines. And for once, remember, a woman in business. Dorothy, you have put it so well. Indeed, we struggle a lot. You struggle from year to year and you want to make an impact, you want to make change, but things don't seem to change easily. Not because we don't have the powers, not because we don't have the brains, but because we do not have that enabling environment to make us thrive and get where we want to be. So we keep dreaming every now and then, and no one seems to care. So just maybe to talk about the issue of the loans, I think they should stop mixing us with any other type of loans. There should be different specific loans for women in business, that our loans are different. And for that to be known, maybe actually that one will inform the next question, which was asking that what is missing in the, okay, what is missing or what should be done anyway, is that if they know all of us, first of all, they should know us. And if they know us, even when we go to look for loans or we need help, it becomes easy for them to help us because they know us, but they don't know most of us because not all of us actually in Kampala. I've had Madam Ekiripa from Tororo. I am from Mbale. Somebody is from Hoima. So most of us, maybe we really actually thank your team that they have given us these opportunities every now and then to give us platforms and we can be heard. And at least somebody can know me because of such platforms. There is nothing like the government has done to bring us closer or even to get to know us so that when we cry, they can easily understand us. Today, when I come to Siatin and I tell you I'm having this a challenge, they will easily understand because they know me, they know the business I'm doing. So let them know us as women in business and know our details so that when we come out, it is not something like, again, another bureaucracy. Are you really in business? Is it really true? So if they know us, it becomes easy to understand and even solve all our challenges. Maybe the other quick input is that they should help us, like I said, to give us an enabling environment where we also have equal rights and equal opportunities. They should motivate us. For example, there are women that have really made it. They should organize programs that recognize such women, maybe give them awards to motivate other women who are struggling. We need also digital agribusiness, I think intelligence for women, so that it can help maybe sharpen our thinking, our work generally. And also, this is something we've also talked about over and over. Again, I'll concur with you, Dorothy. We have talked over and over and still nothing. Maybe we should stop talking about them actually. That when we come and we have such meetings, we talk about something else and maybe just chat and maybe give stories of how far we've come and keep encouraging each other because we know that struggle doesn't seem to have an answer. But they should help women to build their capacity and help them build networks. Like I said, I'm in Mbale, and if I get to know women today, because today we are over 76, it is unfortunate that it is on Zoom. I'm imagining if we were seated in a big hall and we're actually getting to know each other, picking contacts, and yes, getting more. So it really helps us. Okay. Africa, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'll stop there.
Yes. Thank you so much, Justine. Let's have Kaganga John. I'm sorry, I'm going to reduce on the number of minutes. I will be mean and I will only allocate 1 minute to each speaker now. Kaganga John, please come on board.
Okay, I'm going to be very brief. One, I'm requesting, this is a general comment. Are you hearing?
Tekno, please, can you mute? Yes, go ahead. Techno, please.
Can I go ahead now?
Yes,
My
go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, my first comment is this, that I am requesting that these trucks should be localized and should be also put, because now, since we have been taken a long time attending this meeting, virtual meeting, but how many are attending? But we don't even see them on, we don't hear them on radio, we don't see them on any papers, we don't see them in TV. Therefore, money should be put there so that the people at the grassroots should be following. That is one. Then two, we have been talking about this digital divide, but when it becomes to women, it becomes worse. Therefore, there is a need of supporting people, especially at the rural, especially the women, to make sure that they can be following, especially their capacity can be built. Last but not least, we have a problem of intellectual property rate. I am working with women in my organization. 3/4 are women, but I have some ladies who have spent more than 10 years struggling to make sure that they have their small business. I mean, the smaller enterprise they are doing, but getting them registered, getting them to make sure that they are recognized UNBS, it is very difficult. Such ladies should be supported because they are doing a very commendable job. And I would have continued, but let me stop there. But I thank those people who have organized this meeting, and I hope what you have been said should be disseminated so that it can reach the people at the grassroots, especially the smallholder farmers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Bwana Kaganga John. Yeah, the issue of digital divide indeed is something that we need to look into, especially now under COVID-19, when we need entrepreneurs to keep meeting their livelihoods. Let me have Nafna Hadija. Nafna Hadija, you also have 1 minute, please.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful for this opportunity. Hello, are you getting me? Hello?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for this great opportunity given to us as women in Uganda. I'm from Sironko. I'm a general officer at Sironko Farmers Association. We have a very big challenge affecting us as women, and some of the issues have been pointed out by Dorothy and other participants. But one of the major challenges I see, we women, we play a major role in agriculture. But when we come to achieve, we don't achieve. At times, gender issues encourage us, including domestic violence. Also market, as earlier said. For example, we have a farmer in Sironko, he has fish, but there is no market for that fish. He has gone across to many networks, advertising, doing what, but there is no market and no one to guide where the market is coming from. 2, one participant has just said about a Mioga. When such programs come, we think that the requirement can be reduced so that we can easily access those loans and empower our businesses. But you find out that, again, they put more requirement, more procedures, and in a short or long run, you don't receive what you intend because more people come, and at times other people are favored and the key business stakeholders are not favored. So this makes business very hard. To pricing. Now we have, for example, beans. The beans are rotting because of price. There is no market for beans now in Bale and Sironko at large. We have women who have around 200 sacks of beans, but no customer. So at times, if we share this platform, one participant has just said, if we were in one hall, if it was not video, at least we could share contact and see that our products don't lose market. And when you don't get market, next time we are not going to be in business, you see. So there is also a very big problem with market and pricing. So if we are guided on where to go, on how to go, advertise, you know, if we can get those people to give us a hand, we need a hand to go on. Otherwise, we are actively participating, but with such a lot of hindrances, which cannot help us go on and go on. So we are grateful for this platform we are sharing, and I know we are going to share more. As we prepare for the summit, we have a lot of issues to be addressed. As women, hello?
Yes.
You have got me?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Thank you
such
so
challenges.
much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Sorry for coming in, but I need your contact. I'll give you market for those beans, please.
My contacts. Can I give it now?
Yeah, share it in the message. I mean, in Bale, you're in Stronko, we can meet up.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you so much for the issues you're raising. Indeed, the issue of pricing is very critical. And even though we are time bad, I have two people that I wish I could have on board before going back to the speakers to share their responses, and then inviting our colleague from Ministry of Gender. I will have Lillian and then the Commissioner for SMEs, for MSMEs, Mr. Bwana Joshua Mutambi. So let me, from Ministry of Trade, let me have Lillian. Lillian, please utilize 1 minute. And then after Lillian, we should have Bwana Commissioner Joshua Mutambi. Lillian, please. Lillian Sansa? Okay. Let me go to one Joshua.
Hello.
Mutambi.
Hello.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Lillian Sansa once again. My challenge is about skills upgrading. You find that those small farmers and small entrepreneurs need skills upgrading. But then when they go for their training, it's quite expensive. I don't know whether there are some sessions which can help the small farmer. Is small ones can go for much exorbitant, especially to a small holder. Those are my two issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Lillian. Thank you so much, Lillian Sansa. Bwana Commissioner Joshua.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Unfortunately, I've been attending another meeting. I've just logged in this meeting, but I think it's been good going on. My colleague Stephen Chiga has been attending. I only listened to the lady from Mumbare and the colleague from somewhere who was saying that she has beans and she cannot get the market. I think as a ministry, yes, we are represented very well at the district levels through the district commercial officers, and those are our first point of contact. But also we have also these other organizations like UWIL, like Uzia, whereby, you know, as an individual, you cannot manage to sustain a market. So you need to go through those offices and register your presence and then see how you can combine efforts with other groups. Because what we face normally, even before I came to this meeting, I was chatting with another colleague who was telling me I should get markets of his products from Mutake. And the time they need to continue working in groups and let us know when such produce is available and how we can help through our other contact offices in the rural aid in the local districts. Thank you. I think I'll proceed to get the presentations later on. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Juan. Thank you so much, Juan. Joshua, I needed to have you on board because there were a number of issues that were being raised, and a voice from the chief in charge of MSMEs from the Ministry of Trade would be really ideal for this conversation. Let me go back to the speakers, the previous speakers, to respond to some of the questions. Lovin, if you are around, and Dorothy Chimboni, if you are around, Nakayenga, if you're around, and also Madam Ekirapai. As you're coming on board, there were a number of issues coming up in the chat, and the Nakayenga, when Arthur Banonia was indicating that there's a possibility of him volunteering to assist you on advising how you can liaise with the Ministry of Agriculture to your knowledge, but also benefit from value chain and its potential to your business. And the Janet Kabachunguzi is also indicating that there should be there's a need to design several grants to make them more agriculture, and especially for women in agro processing. And Mr. Chimera Henry from Consent is also creating information to make it aware to with the MSMEs that currently, if you are an MSME and you are facing challenges to certify products by UNBS, currently the cost of product certification has been reduced specifically for MSMEs in agro processing in a bid to support BUB. So Ministry of Trade working with UNBS has been able to reduce the cost of product certification, which you can take advantage of. So let me go back to the panel. In interest of time, I'm going to grant only 2 minutes to each panel. So please don't take offense when I tell you that your time is over. So let me start with the Loving. Please, if you have anything to respond, the floor is yours.
Thank you again for giving me the floor. I had 2 questions, one from Mr. Hamba Richard, and it was asking me about the challenges related to transportation of fish products that we have highlighted, including mobility for women, children in the fisheries sector. Yes, we really have very many transport challenges, especially due to the fact that the transport value chain needs sophisticated transportation cold chain vehicles, which are expensive for our women to buy. And without financing, it makes it even more harder because the cost of one cold van can actually maybe be more than 100 million shillings. And with this, really, it affects the way women operate, because that means we have to take shortcuts by using vehicles that are not recommended for transportation, and this also creates temperature abuse, which translates back to poor quality products and then rejection when taken to the factory, and this will make us make losses. But also in relation to COVID-19, really in Uganda especially, this has affected the entire fish value chain, from pre-production, processing, storage, transport, and marketing. And we have huge financial losses because we have large volumes of unsold stock, restrictions on anywhere, and unlocking public transport surely has affected us more because we can't move anywhere. We are stuck. The last question was on losses in the fisheries sector. And this was from Madam Agnes Kilabo, and she was asking me losses and statistics in relation to the fisheries sector. According to FAO report, the FAO said we have losses in fisheries value chain are a major threat in food security, and we have losses going, especially for small sardines like mukene. In the rainy season, it's 10%. Sorry, from dry season 10%, and when it's dry season, we go up to 90%. And when you translate this into economically into money, this is losing about 1.5 million US dollars annually in terms of value. And when you go to tilapia, tilapia loses about 5.2% of catch, and this affects quality. And in terms of cash, this is about 220,000 US dollars annually. So you can imagine what we can do with this money that we are losing if we were having the proper infrastructure, the right, everything that we need to be able to manage the post-harvest losses in this sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lovin. Let me have Miss Dorothy Chimuri come in. 2 minutes, please, Dorothy, if you have anything to respond to.
Thank you very much once again for coming to the floor. And I want to appreciate the complimentary contributions that have come in. And what I must say is basically a conclusion to what has been discussed. And just to make each and every participant aware that we are in critical times. We are in times where the direction of the world is being redirected. And with that redirection, let us encourage each other to be action players, because what Uganda needs today is action, is actual implementation to ensure that we go ahead. We are going in the digital era. And right now, the discussions on table should be how to redirect our transactions towards that digital transformation process. But that we are still lagging behind, which means that when it comes to advancing, while the rest of the world is advancing, as we are continuing allowing ourselves to stay behind. So let us be action-packed to make sure that we realize the industry to the next level. And secondly, as entrepreneurs, let's work together. There are so many associations that are in place. Associations like You Will, there's USEA, and I would also call Siatini, because those are the places where our voices are heard. Let's get to these associations, because you find that also as women entrepreneurs, we are not making an effort to engage, to actively participate in these associations, to make sure that our voice is really heard, not only through Siatini, but also these voices that represent our interests. So having said that, we pray that there are going to be results that we see from this meeting, and those that represent us on a national level will not positions, but rather appreciate our direction of argument and address our challenges. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dorothy, for being precise and for that. Regina Nakayenga, you also have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. Are you hearing me?
Yes, please go ahead, Regina.
Oh, thank you. I want also to summarize. In addition to what has been said, I want to emphasize that women entrepreneurs need the special financing products. Attention should be put a lot on appropriate technologies at all stages, right from the garden to processing, even to digital marketing, because when that is done, it relieves women of the excessive burdens which tie them and bar them from growing their businesses, and it will also improve their health. Then we also need to maintain, as ladies, we need to maintain the quality of our products. Go on and read more, study, find out from others, and also be innovative to maintain your quality and always upgrade your products' quality. Thank you very much. I've submitted.
Thank you so much, Regina. Yes, indeed you have. Can I also have now Madam Kirapa Vanti, if you're still online?
Yes, I'm online, Chair. Thank you. I'm disturbed by the so many hands that I'm still seeing up, or they were forgotten. When I'm talking to interest groups.
This is now I want to conclude with the gender issues. We need the gender policies visited for women. They can access to the resources in terms of and other resources. Then on financial, there is need to introduce access to soft loans. Do not require collateral in financial institutions where you can get enough money. We are in business. We are not talking about getting money, digital money from village savings. We are talking about business where you want to, in case it is a season and you want to help your farmers to buy their produce. So we need enough money and get collaterals. Then about fake inputs, which I've been talking about. Since farmers have been suffering on fake inputs, and every day now, years, we're talking about fake inputs on both animal and crop. So we are talking about that one. That one we are leaving it for the government to put restrictive measures to see how they can help us to get better crops. Thank you very much. Hello.
Okay, can I have there are other hands. Thank you, Agnes, for the advice. And indeed, it is important that we listen to these interest groups. So if I can have Miss Nasuna Christ come in, and after Nasuna, if I could have Okiria Edith Nakiria. So Christine, please come on board, and then after you we have Okiria. For those who still also wish to say something, please raise your hands, and if you're unable to raise your hand, I'll give some allowance of minutes to be able to see whether we have anyone else. So please, Nasuna Christine, come on board. You may wish to remove the video to allow for connection, please. Nasuna Christine, please come on board. Okay, she's preparing to come on board. Can I have Okiria?
She's muted. She's muted.
Yes. Can I have Okiria Edith come on board? Miss Nasuna Christine, please, the floor is yours. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Yes.
You may remove video, please. Remove video so that you can, your connection.
Okay.
Go ahead, please. That's good.
Good afternoon.
That's good. Go ahead.
Okay, good
Yeah,
afternoon.
that's good. Go ahead, please. Good afternoon to you.
I'm grateful for the meeting. Yes, I work with Nasquis Beverage Company. We deal in finished products like tea leaves, ginger, vanilla flavored. But my point is, we have had so many of these meetings, which are good, but though we participate, we don't see our points being put out. We have places like, we have organizations like Uzia, because me, I'm a try to tell them our problems, but still they come, they write them, but they don't come down. Hello?
Hello. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Hello. Christine, go
Hello?
ahead. Yes, go ahead, Christine, please.
I was saying,
yes,
there are so many organizations which have come up to help small scalers.
Yes.
We try to become members, we just as members. Sorry?
Go on. Please go on, Christine, go on.
Okay. So we have had many of these meetings. We always tell you, when they organize them, we go there, we tell them our problems, but they don't come back to the ground to see how they have. We have problems of registrations of our companies. These are small scale businesses. We do them from households. We try to help other women around us, but our capital is still small. When you go out to the market, they always request for numbers. They want a certified product. They want, okay, the packaging may be fair, but still when you try to compete with these people who are already marketing big companies, for you, they throw you out. Then how shall we really, as women, develop when even the little you have started with can't be helped? Another point I want to raise is that since we are members of small group, the years, please, we have been members for over 4 to 5 years. Let them come and they cross-check with them. They ask for those who have been participating, those who have been paying their membership properly. They come to us, they ask us our problems. They try to help us and solve some of the problems, especially registration and getting UNBS, because we can't get market in supermarkets, even in bigger hotels, when our products are not certified, and we don't have that money.
Okay. Thank you so much.
If they are ready to give us loans, we can go for those loans when there is some small interest, because we know there is nothing free. But provided I've started a business, I have a motive to raise that. If they help me with some loan and they give me a small interest, I can go for it, so that I put my business on board, so that I can be able to pay all the taxes, so that I can be able to register my company, so I can be able to get the UNBS, and my product can go abroad. That was my point.
Thank you so much, Christine, for the insightful comments. Can I have Ekilai on board now? Come on board now. Okilia Edith. Okilia Edith, as you are coming on board, let me have Mariam Katenda. Mariam.
Thank you, Chair. For us, our challenge is not very different from the many challenges being faced by SMEs. We are a group of women in Jinja making wine, but the challenge is we have a big stock of wine, but now we are facing a problem of marketing, especially during this lockdown. We are also not very certain about the quality. So our concern is, can we be helped maybe by someone from your organization there to come and check on our quality and also help us go through the processes of certification so that we can find the market and also pay off the loan, because we even just got a loan. Thank you.
Yes, Mariam, that's very important. I wish I could have someone from Ministry of Trade, whether Bwana Joshua or Kiria, to be able to respond. But then we have then I also had the hand of Kiria. Edith, are you still ready? Are you now ready to share with us? Okay, can I have Martha Kataike? Martha, please.
I hope everyone can hear me. So
yes, we can hear you, Martha.
Yes, I have a point to raise with we as women have responsibility, because I work with Kataike Farm Foundation, where we train women on modern farming techniques and financial empowerment. But then if our major concern is like, if we bring up issues where we need financial empowerment, we hope that the correct systems where we are able, we as people who are leading other women are able to be empowered such that we are in a position of pulling up other women. Because at the end of the day, if we come and talk about our issues here as small scale entrepreneurs, and we talk about these issues, yet we have bigger visions, and then they consider people whose companies are already successful, it won't bring up these grassroots companies, grassroots entrepreneurs who have visions to grow. So we pray that, or our hope is that once we discuss these things, a section of people on this platform come to the ground and say, okay, how many participants did we have in this section last time? Were they 10? Yes. There was Martha, there was this. Let's go to the ground and follow up and see how did this meeting impact on them. And then you come back with a report and then a follow-up report. So we see that whatever we have decided to put in place has been followed and implemented. Then, or every time there's another section of people, we talk about the same issues, we don't follow up on the ground what the issues have they been implemented or not. So it is going to be a circus of discussion, but then less implementation. So my prayer is we have a checklist on what we discuss on this platform, and then we follow through and see how things fall in place. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Martha. Indeed, the issue of from rhetoric to action is very critical. How do we address this checklist, like you call it, is very important. I think the hands that were up are done, unless there is any burning one. Okay. Then I wish to call, I wish to call now Bwana Mbazira from Ministry of Gender. There were a number of issues that came up, and as you were making your closing remarks and charting the way forward, if you could kindly respond to some of those issues, that would be critical. Please. Bwana Mbazira, you're most welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, moderator. I was actually attending another Zoom meeting and this one concurrently, but at least I managed to capture a few points here which I feel are relevant. Colleagues, once again, Hassan Mbaziro is my name from the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. I'm delighted to be here on this particular talk. Siatini has been with these entrepreneurs, I think, from ages. And please, thanks for the good work and kindly keep up the spirit. I know one day we shall be there. So thank you so much, colleagues, for this organization of the Food Summit. Now, the issues of food security are very pertinent and they touch the core of our fabric. I believe everybody right now in the lockdown wants to eat. So you can see the magnitude of the importance of this particular exercise. We cannot survive without eating. But that one notwithstanding, how do we now push this to another level? I'll be talking from the perspective of the women, because we are so much into women as Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, and also some slight bit bring in other issues of the youth and so on. But a few issues that I noticed which are coming out from the discussions. There are issues of certification. That one is not deniable. It is pertinent and everybody recognizes that our products are still raw and they need to compete on the wider markets, not only in Uganda originally, but also across the globe. So the issue of certification, colleagues, is coming out prominently. There are issues of gender relations. We shall also have a small talk about that. Issues of quality and also quantity is coming up, but the issues of quality are coming out prominently in all the discussions that we've been having. There are issues of formalization of groups. They are also coming out prominently because we can't do this alone as individual farmers or as individual entrepreneurs. The more you embrace the group approach, the better. The issues of using rudimentary methods of production and value addition are coming up more than ever. And throughout our discussions with Siatini, these issues have been coming up that we need to change the ways we do the production. Otherwise, we are going to be repeating in cycles or moving in cycles. The issue of adding value, like I said earlier, is coming up. Then the issue of collateral being demanded by these commercial banks is also recycling. And I thought this is going to be history, but now it is still coming up. Hello? The issue again of markets, lack of markets is also coming up. So we are seeing prominently issues of lack of markets coming up for our women products and the services. So we also to redirect our discussions on these markets. It's not good to encourage women to overproduce, and at the end of the day, their produce gets bad, or they don't have markets to do the production, they are lacking the information about markets and where we can access effective markets for their products and services. So having noted all these issues, what should we do? Most of the speakers are saying we should stop even the discussions, or we should simply come, take tea and deliberate on how far we've come from and, go home. So my view is let's keep hope alive. Just like how the last speaker said that we should have an action matrix from this particular workshop. We should have an action matrix and draw up the action points vis-a-vis deadlines on how we should achieve this. I think that is the right direction. But some of the key points that I observed and maybe I can share with members, one, why don't we make these particular talks regular on radio stations? Think about that. For example, CBS goes an extra mile. It has a very big outreach. Why don't we have these talks regular? The benefits are as follows. One, they are women who do not know about these issues that we are discussing. They will get an opportunity. Women who are not part of these platforms. When we meet at Africana, we meet at Sheraton and have these discussions. How about these particular women who are deep down the villages? Do they know what we are discussing, or we simply cascade this information onto them? My view would be things are changing. We are now embracing the new normal. Things are changing. The issue of policymakers, the issue of UCATIN and others coming to sit in the very posh hotels of Africana and then deliberating on issues which are affecting someone deeper in the villages are getting done. So my idea or my view, humble suggestion is these discussions that we are having. Look, think about a strategy where these panelists whom you've invited get some opportunity to sit on CBS and deliberate these issues so that someone who is being touched deeper in the villages can have an opportunity also to contribute at the end of the day. There are platforms which are there. So I would suggest and strongly recommend that we can have these platforms on radio stations across the country if it is possible. You might find challenges which are being faced in the central are the same challenges in Arua, they are the same challenges in Imbarara, and they are the same challenges in the Teso sub-region. So let us decentralize these discussions and have them on radio stations across the country. We shall benefit a lot when we get from the voices of those women who are down there. Then other benefit is women don't know about some of these products. People are talking about financial products from these finance institutions. Yes, financial institutions indeed have a challenge, but there are products which I know are specifically designed for these women. If you go to Stanbic, if you go to Finance Trust Bank, if you go to Centenary Bank, there are products which have been specifically designed for women. The products are there. Last time when I was with you, Siatina, I told you that Stanbic Bank is getting a very big sum of money from an international donor, from those international organizations, specifically to uplift the business of the women which have been affected by COVID. That money is there. But do these people know? Oh, it is only a few of us in this particular high-level meeting. Do these people, women on the ground, do they know about this? So my view would be that if we send this information via radio stations across the country, it will be easier for some of these women to also get to know and benefit from these discussions that they don't have the information. So like I told you, Stanbic Bank, Centenary Bank, Pride Microfinance, and others have got women-friendly products. The issue is this known to the woman down there? We need to think about the radio stations. Then we should also think about popularizing agribusiness. As we discuss about disseminating this information, we should make this popular. The moment we start making this popular and the voice gets to be heard, government will also act, not just on behalf of government, but also there are other stakeholders, other government entities which would listen. The moment we come together as women, you come together as women, speak with one voice, popularize the importance of agribusiness, transiting from this normal agriculture, and then we make it an agribusiness. People will listen and the approach will be totally different. So importance of agribusiness, what are the opportunities which are available within probably government and also other sectors or other centers? What are the opportunities which are available? Do we know where the storage facilities are? Do we know which banks have got women-friendly products? Do we know the processes we go through to do certification? Do we know the processes to go through to get quality branding? How can I improve the quality of my product? If I'm dealing in wine, there are women, if you're driving along the Mbarara Highway, there are women around Liantonde there. There are women who are very good in winemaking. But do they know where the market is? These are women who are marketing their products in DRC Congo. DRC Congo. So please, we need to really give these women information. To me, I see there is a dearth in information generation and dissemination. Then I would also request that the women who are on this platform, let us try to popularize some of these government programs. I've just been getting a backlash in all these meetings that the women are not aware, they are not accessing, but I'm talking from the perspective of web, and I know very well this program has done wonders. So if you don't have the requisite information, my phones are available, my email address is available, I can supply with a lot of quality information to do with the Women Fund, the Women Entrepreneurship Program, which was going to be taken to the Ministry of Local Government. It is still in Ministry of Gender. The money is there. We are now in this particular quarter. We've received some good amount of money, and the districts are supplying files to the ministry to be funded. So this is information which some of our panelists here may not know. So you get the information and disseminate it to the women groups. Someone could be lacking a small machine to add value to the product. That person cannot be denied funding. As long as they come in a group, those people cannot be denied funding. The challenge with funding individuals is that ours is a revolving fund. ours is a revolving fund. So when you are an individual, it becomes difficult for us at the Ministry of Gender to start chasing an individual to pay back the money, because other women must also access this funding. And we want to make it sustainable. So it can't be sustainable when we rely on government in perpetuity. That is why we say no, let it be a revolving fund, so that when you get the money, utilize the money, and then other people now can keep getting it, and business goes on in perpetuity. But you can never rely on government as a funder, because things change. So I would request some of you people to get the information which is right from the right sources and disseminate it to the women groups. Someone talked about hibiscus juice. They are very nice, wonderful women groups in Luero which deal in hibiscus, and they have benefited from UWEP. So even you who has a hibiscus business or product, kindly gather the women, especially your producers, gather them in a group and come and access this funding. I've been sharing good numbers, telephone numbers of the program officers for each particular region. Luero is in the central region, and I have the telephone numbers. So kindly get this information, and it is free of charge, and disseminate it to the women. They can access these funds, but they should apply through the right channels, not to come to the ministry to demand money. They should apply through the local governments, because if our program or these government projects are decentralized, they are being operated through government structures. Then let's think about a database of these small businesses, especially those ones for women. For us, what we have is a database of vulnerable women who have come together to access funding. But now there are women you're talking about who have started their enterprises. They are now stuck somewhere and they need some push. Or they have started their enterprises, they don't know where the market is. So my view would be, and with all due respect to those ones who are businesses, kindly take advantage of these associations. Take advantage of these associations and speak with one voice. The moment you get to belong somewhere, it becomes easier for you to get help from any entity whatsoever. It becomes very, very easier for you to get the assistance that you need. So I would request that we start skewing our direction towards a database of these smaller enterprises. It could be within Uganda Investment Authority, I'm not yet aware. It could be somewhere you will, I'm not aware, but at least let us try to get a database and to speak with one voice. All these ideas will come to pass. Then the beauty with the having us belonging to an association, for example, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is funding a very big venture to have a database of these women groups. And I told you some time back, this is being done by Ipsos. Ipsos is a research firm which is doing the exercise. They are trying to do a mapping. Now, the idea behind that is that they would like to know which particular products are being marketed where, which particular products are being produced where. So if you understand that in Mbarara, there is a group which maybe produces wine, and now in Isingiro or in Tororo, there is another group which is very busy marketing their wine in probably Kenya or the eastern part of Kenya. It will be easier for these two people to operate when there is a system which is connecting them. So the issue of marketing, we think probably in the near future will be history. Because if you have one platform where there are those producers and there are also those sellers, producers, sorry, and also the buyers coming on board together as women speaking with one voice, it becomes easier to have a system, an ecosystem which is full. The producers are there, the processors are there, the marketeers are there, and also the end result, or the people who are going to buy into the supermarkets, they are also on board. So that is the idea behind this particular system. But nonetheless, there's also another one called the 50 Million African Women Speak. That is also a very powerful platform where we can engage our members to become part of that system. That is an interlink of our women groups or of our individual women, so that they get to know where are my buyers. But in the current system we are operating in, it is simply on Lugambo. Where should I sell? Oh, DRC Congo loves wine. So then someone rushes to DRC Congo to sell. But the times are changing. This lockdown has taught us very big lessons. Times are changing. It is usually very, very good for you to have your markets at the fingertips of your phone. people have phones. And those ones who don't have phones, they will devise means with time. Get access to these simple gadgets. Otherwise, I repeat, the times are changing. Those ones who are selling goats are now marketing their goats on Facebook. Those ones who are selling chicken or poultry, they are marketing. Things are changing, and we should embrace the new normal. If we don't do that, then we can't go far. The other previous meeting, I told you a very good group in Kasese called Karsandara Women's Group, which is purely HIV people. They have very wonderful baskets, and those baskets are sold as far as Belgium. But the challenge is the Rwandese were coming to buy the baskets from them. And when they buy baskets from them, the Rwandese were acting as middlemen, taking these baskets to Belgium, France, and so on, selling them expensively, local products. Now look at that. Until when we had to come in and connect these people directly to those buyers. Otherwise, it would be very easy if there was a system or a platform where we can link our women onto those external buyers. So let's quickly think about a database and also another system. The existing systems can be tapped into. Those ones which are being developed, we shall take advantage and get the interlinks. Then we talked about the value addition. There are these NGOs and these big organizations like the Gates Foundation, the World Bank, and so on. Then we're also looking at smaller scale technologies. We talked about that one. There is something in the woofing. Maybe my colleague from Ministry of Trade is aware about this. Something in the cooking which is coming up, where the World Bank, government is trying to secure credit for women. And it is being worked on by the Ministry of Gender and the World Bank. It is a very big, very big venture which is being undertaken. So if it works out, some of the businesses that have been affected by COVID, they are trying to expand the scope where they are vulnerable women, those ones who have already undertaken some enterprises and probably they're having challenges, those women who have been school dropouts, the market vendors. It is big and is being channeled through the Ministry of Gender, and also other NGOs will do the dissemination of the information and also the uptake of the program. So there's a lot which is going on, but this information is readily available from the right sources. I would urge every member to seek the right information and they'll be on the right track. From those very few discussions, I really hope that whatever we deliberated here comes up in an action matrix, just like what the previous speaker said. And then in the next meeting, we should be able to track and say, hey, we discussed this, but after discussions, what happened to this particular point? There we shall be held accountable. We shall be held accountable as individuals on the platform, as discussants on the platform. Then we shall be benefiting not only us, but even that individual woman who is struggling to keep their businesses afloat. Back to you, moderator. Colleagues, thank you so much. I'm readily available for any questions at any time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bwana Zira. And yes, this was insightful. The issue of an action matrix is really so critical. And this is something that the partners need to consider effectively. Also contribute relevant to the women entrepreneurs who have sacrificed their time, but also shared with us their challenges. We are winding up, and I wish to call Agnes Chilabo, Madam Agnes Chilabo, to wrap up for us and also tell us with the current what is going to happen now that we have gathered evidence from the women MSMEs. Agnes, please, if you may wish to come on board. And as you're coming on board, Madam Agnes, I wish to note that there was a concern about access to land by women agri-entrepreneurs and how this is affecting them. And I wish to note that on 10th to 11th of August 2021, there is going to be a Women Land Rights Movement conference. And this one will be looking at women's economic empowerment and issues of access to credit related to land. I think this would be critical for our women entrepreneurs who have questions about land, who have concerns about land, to further also engage in this conference, to be able to also re-echo these challenges to, so that we can have double aspects of addressing these challenges. That will be on the 10th of August to 11th of August, and we'll be sharing the link to that. Agnes, please, if you may come on board.
Thank you so much, Africa, and thank you so much, Bwana Hassan, Mbazira, our speakers, Dorothy, Regina, Kriapo, hope I have pronounced the name properly, and everybody that has raised a voice here. I wish to congratulate ourselves. I'm personally very happy and excited. We have pulled these conversations in a very short time, and I wish to say that we have been ranging between 65 to 78 participants on this call, which is quite very amazing. Thank you so much, Bwana Mbazira, for the guidance and the insights that you have given. Now, I always tell people as a Christian and a believer in that sense, that I believe in gatherings and conversations. Big results are results of meetings and conversations, convenings and conversations. As a believer, the Bible tells me that there was a meeting in heaven. And in that meeting, there was a resolution to make human beings. Although the Bible doesn't talk about it elaborately, it talks about the resolution that let us make man in our own image, meaning that that was a resolution. And if you say let us, it means that that party was not alone. So there was a meeting. And it goes on, and in another teaching, there was a meeting, and then someone agreed to come down, come live with us until when we nailed him, and he flew back, but he promised to come back again. There was a meeting. Even in his crucifixion, there was a meeting. Even after he was crucified, some people like the women entrepreneurs are here, went and hid themselves in the upper room together. So the issue of meetings and coming together, for me, is it's very fundamental. It's a foundation. And therefore, I agree with Mr. Mbazira that we have to keep ourselves together. We have to keep sharing. We have to keep talking. We have to keep advancing together. And I want to commit that I want to commit ourselves that we are in for this meeting and having conversations. I think it was the Mombeja Nasuna who came in very frustrated and says they always come talk to us. We talk about these things, they don't come back. Sometimes they don't come back to announce that we are working on this issue, but you see government programs, some of them changing and evolving as a result of our conversation. Sometimes we lose track. So that's when, even when they work on our issue, we cannot associate with it that we made a contribution. Moving forward, I'm happy Bwana Mbazira is asking us for an action matrix, which we are going to make for the sake of keeping ourselves together and advancing our agenda together beyond these food systems summit dialogues. But in the context of the food systems summit dialogue, we are going to prepare a position paper that is only going to pick the unique issues of women agri-entrepreneurs. The others of access to poor quality seeds and what that affect everybody. If we fail to tease out what is very unique to women agri-entrepreneurs, we are not going to include it in this paper. We are going to include it in our bigger briefing paper, which we can use elsewhere. But the unique voice that is required from this meeting in the Food Systems Summit dialogues is that those unique game changers that I have ably heard them coming out of this meeting. So we are going to submit it to the National Secretariat to be included in the national position paper. That is one. Two, the frameworks of the UN Food Systems Summit, as coordinated from New York, also gives us an opportunity to submit an outcome of our independent dialogue. So I think we are going to do double submission. We are going to submit to Uganda, but we are also going to submit to the entire Global Secretariat for people at that level also to appreciate our engagement, because here the Uganda position will go as a Uganda position. They are not going to be aware that Nasona or Nakayenga or Dorothy or Kiza or whatever, we met and specifically had a conversation on women and agri-entrepreneurship within the context of the food systems transformation. So we are going to do a submission even at that level. I also have another smaller piece of news. Dr. Sarah, she introduced herself to you. She has told us in the Secretariat group that she wants to continue in touch with this particular group because under the Planning Authority, she wants to create a planning forum for women agri-entrepreneurship, and the pioneers of that forum from the planning sense is going to be us who are on this call. So for me, I've been very excited that just as we pushed and held this space, we are having an outcome action. So now we are getting into the gates of planning for this country and making sure that our voice and opinions are close to the planning decision-making table. For me, that was very exciting. If you want to join me in the excitement, you're welcome. If you don't want, I will remain excited anyway. So that is how we are going to move forward, submitting to the National Secretariat, submitting to the Global Secretariat, organizing ourselves into the planning forum for women agri-entrepreneurs under the National Planning Authority, and then organizing our action framework upon which we are going to engage beyond this particular process that is going on. So that is what I can say for now. At least I'm happy. Martha Kataihe is also joining me in excitement. I have seen Peter is also joining me in excitement, and I know many of you are excited just as I am. So thank you so much, Siatini. Thank you so much, the SME Alliance, the SME Forum. Thank you so much, Government of Uganda. Thank you so much, our speakers. Thank you so much, specifically the Ministry of Gender, Labor, and Social Development. And thank you so much, Rosa Luxembourg Stiftung, for facilitating us to have this space and this conversation. I have a steering committee meeting starting shortly. I mean a National Secretariat meeting starting shortly, and I need to go and report about our proceedings. So I wish to submit to you, Chair, and say thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Agnes Chirabo, for the wrap up. And really, this leads us to the end of our discussion. For those who are able to, two logistical issues. One, we shall be getting in touch with everyone that has registered with us, their numbers for data reimbursements. And then for those who can be able to click on your screen a video and we can take a photo of you, that would be nice. If we can just all of us bear with us, let us click on the video icon. Herbert, I hope you are ready so that we can take the video. Let me look for those that are, can we, those give us their faces? We wish to see your beautiful faces and handsome faces. Okay, Herbert, think you can go with that and let me know when you're done. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, and please do take care. I wish I can stay with the Siatini and the FRA team and Bwana Humphrey for just a few minutes. Thank you so much, everyone, and please do take care.
All of it, Kiza, thank you for moderating very well.
Asante Bwana. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, everyone. It was nice having you.
Nice afternoon.
I want us to discuss something.
Nice afternoon. Yes, we are going to have, we are going to have Siatini team, FRA team, and the Bwana Humphreys team. We are going to discuss a few follow-up issues on how to move. Yes.
Africa, some people might take forever leaving.
So should I?
Yeah, the host can exit them.
Okay, let me do that. Thank you.
I didn't see them right.
Yeah, I'm still removing them, please. Just bear with me a bit.
Hello?
Okay. Yeah, I'm also removing the participants here. Okay, I think we just a minute, remove Dorothy, remove, yes. Remember that I have to remove one by one. I think, yes. I think we are done. Yes. So good afternoon, everyone. I know it is late. So and I mean we are between your lunch, so we are going to try to make this brief, but thank you so much for staying behind for us to be able to touch base and agree on some of the issues that need to be taken forward. Again, I don't want to repeat what Agnes said, but I wish to thank each one of us for the commitment and for the mobilization of the stakeholders in such a short while. So thank you so much. And yes, that would be. From my side, one of the remaining issues is to now fine-tune this to recollect the issues that have been raised by the MSMEs, by the agripreneurs, and fine-tune them into the position paper, or statement, which we are going to submit to the Secretariat. And the timeline to that, I should be able to send to us this statement in the course of today before leaving office, so that we can make some time and maybe work at it around Monday. But I was thinking that we could submit this position paper on Monday to the Secretariat. I beg to be guided on that, but that is from my side. I had asked Joseph to take minutes of the meeting. I hope Joseph is on board. I don't see him. Immaculate, you will liaise with Joseph. We are going to give him the recording, because his role was to take to develop a report from this meeting, an action report.
Hello, it seems Africa, Madam Agnes and Madam Jane are off. Immaculate, I've been away for a few minutes. What were you discussing? Yeah, what we discussed Africa was to share a position paper after including all the issues that have been discussed by the women entrepreneurs. And then also he had told Joseph, that I don't know which Joseph exactly, to write the meeting report. I'm soon finding out which Joseph is this, because he has I've been assigned to get in touch with him concerning the report. Okay, so that's all. So far, those were the issues that had come out. Okay. Kale, otherwise the meeting was good. Yeah, it was good. Mwebale kutegeka. Oh, webale kusima. Should we leave? Can you try calling Africa? Because
Because I am seeing
using-
everybody leaving, so I don't know.
Jonita, try calling Africa. Okay. Okay. Immaculate, my phone just went off. Kindly call him. Okay. I've talked with Africa and he said they are trying to join again. Let's be patient a bit.
Again, are you the host?
Yes, she is. Yes, Africa.
Can you please try to admit people?
But no
Try to
one is
admit
in No one is in the waiting room.
You are near each other, and that's why you're having feedbacks. So there are very many gadgets near each other. So that's why we have feedback.
Imagine. No, you should just mute your microphone. The speaker, you mute the speaker. Immaculate, can you allow in Agnes and the rest?
No one is in the waiting room.
Okay, then, all right.
Mm.
Immaculate. Hey, Immaculate.
Yes.
Bwana Humphrey.
I am here.
Yes, we are going to create a new Zoom a new link because the other comrades are unable to join, including me using the old one. So please bear with us. Let us create a new one in the next 2 minutes and we share with you.
All right.
The meeting will be brief.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for understanding.